Hi, and welcome to Terribly Fun Films. I'm your host, Bobby, and today we're looking at the Wild Eye releasing film Sharkenstein. Yes, Sharkenstein. It's as gloriously absurd as the name implies, and as gloriously awesome as Wild Eye releasing puts it out also implies. So without further ado, let's dig into it. First thing to note is the plot. This isn't a ripoff of, say, Frankenfish, which is a Sci-Fi Channel original film from years ago. It very much does its own thing. A crazed Nazi scientist madman, which maybe that's a bit redundant to say, stitches a shark together from dead shark bits, then implants the brain of Frankenstein's monster into it so it can now walk on land and in the sea to try and bring back the Third Reich. If you're already sold on this plot description, you will have fun with this film. If I just turned you off and you think this sounds like the dumbest thing in the world, why are you watching my channel? And the movie, the way it's made and stuff, will not change your mind at all. Written by J.K. Farlew, and the writing's a bit of a mixed bag. When we're focusing on the crazed scientist madman, and when we're focusing on the killing and the sharks, it is a lot of fun. It gets a lot of mileage out of it, and there are some really great jokes throughout the film with all the characters. It is less impressive in the character development standpoint, and the first 20 minutes or so of this film, not a lot happens. It is just, we're hanging out with these people before they stumble upon the craziness, and it's a little slow to start because of that. It's hard to not like them, but it's hard to understand the dynamic at first. It's hard to really care what they're doing or that sort of thing. So it is a bit slow to start, and that does hurt the film a little bit. I recently watched Queen Crab, which I'll also review, and that just hit the ground running and is perfection the entire way through. This, not quite so much. It's not that the characterization's bad, it's that they're sort of two-dimensional, and it takes a while for us to really warm up to them, if that makes sense. Within that, though, the actual beats that the story hits are nicely laid out, so once the action gets going, you're never that bored, again, after that initial 20 or so minutes. And it does go to some very weird, very crazy places that is a lot of fun to see happen, you know? The dialogue is full of groaners and awkward one-liners and that sort of thing. But really, in a movie like this, that's kind of what I want, you know? I want it to be kind of silly and not take itself too seriously, so very little issues in that front. This was directed by Mark Polonia, P-O-L-O-N-I-A. Hopefully I'm saying the last name right. When you're watching the credits, it's a Polonia Brothers production, so clearly they really wanted to make this movie. And he does a very fine job. The underwater stuff especially looks cheesy and ridiculous in that sort of real fake 1950s low-budget sci-fi submarine type films looked. And it's actually kind of great, especially during the opening credits when we're very much recalling those movies and invoking them. And the movie overall does a good job of capturing that crazy, fun spirit that was what we call the golden age of sci-fi. I think it does a good job there. And the action scenes are well done with some really interesting visuals, especially when we're going from the shark's point of view. This isn't like Snake-O-Vision, which is just hilarious and misguided. This actually works and does allow some creatively, visually engaging kills. When we are just bumming around in the beginning with our characters, there's really nothing special to it, but once things start getting crazier, so do the visuals, so do the camera angles, and I like that ramped up attitude as things get messier for our main characters. Playing Madge, who's probably my favorite of our three main characters, is Greta Volkova, and she's probably the person I would expect to see have a really great career after this. And I don't just mean really great in terms of B-movie films. I mean, like, she could probably land, like, some primetime, big show, handle it very well, receive lots of awards and Emmys and all that jazz. And I would be like, yeah, I can totally see her doing that sort of thing. She does bring a lot to the role. She makes the character much more empathetic than is on the page. And she's really the heart of the thing. And I think without this actress in that role, the movie would be far less enjoyable. Playing Skip, another of our main three people out for a sort of a lazy weekend on the water, is James Karlolis, and he's good. He's good in that same way when you're watching something like Alien Storm or Savage Planet, and you have that really fun B-movie character you're watching, and you think he's good and fun. That doesn't necessarily mean it translates well to any other role or in any other film. It's just in these circumstances, in these sorts of things, he brings a sort of levity and ridiculousness to it, especially with the way he wears his hat, that I appreciated quite a bit. Rounding out our main trio is Titus Himmelberger as Coop, who's probably the least developed of the characters, but does get some of the funniest moments after the crazy starts. So that's kind of enjoyable. And he's alright. He doesn't do bad, but you could replace him with any other actor of roughly the same age, build, and same mannerisms, and you wouldn't notice, if that makes sense. Playing the harbor master, I guess, or at the very least the security chief of the harbor for the lake where all this craziness is going on, is Ken Van Sant, and he's good. He does the put up on, seen it all type police chief type guy really well, and I believe he cares about these people and wants to see them saved. So when he does go out and puts himself in harm's way to do that, it does make sense. Jeff Kirkendall plays Klaus, the evil Nazi scientist doing all this. His accent is terrible. He tries doing a German accent, and it sort of sounds like if he was told what a German accent speaking English sounds like, but then got it confused for Australian and tries combining these two accents. It's really awkward and really weird and bloody hilarious. I hope it's intentional, again, to keep that sort of obvious B-movie motif going through the whole film that this has such a love for, you can tell in sort of the direction and everything. So I hope it's intentional that accent is meant to be a sort of call and response, if you will, to 1950 movies when they would cast English speakers who had overwrought, ridiculous German accents. I don't know if that's true or not, but it would explain it, and it works in context of the film. So that's what I'm going with. It's called Sharkenstein. You can already figure out some of the beats yourself in terms of the story and stuff. There is some blood. It's not especially gory, though. Just some splatters here and there, a few that hit the camera thanks to the Sharkovision stuff. It works well in terms of the death count, in terms of keeping things exciting and fresh, and I really like how they end the film. I think the climax when they're fighting the monster on dry land is a ton of fun. The score is okay. It was done by Danny Davidson and Greg Staninia, and is serviceable. But outside of the opening credits main theme song, I have kind of already forgotten it, which is a little bit sad. I don't remember any points where I thought, oh, this is a bad musical key. But there definitely were no points where I thought, oh, this score is really like enhancing everything as opposed to just like jump scare noises. Does that make sense? I'm not sure if it does. The cinematography by Alan Wyoming is very good. They get a lot out of their limited budget and out of their limited showcasing, if that makes sense. Like, it's clear they only had a few filming spots, and I think it does look bigger than that. I think they got the most out of that. Mostly, I know this is going to be a real short review, but I'm trying to impart how fun this film is. It's got some flaws, it's a little boring to start off with, but it definitely amps up and gets crazier and better as it progresses. And it's just absurd and ridiculous, and it was made with love from everybody involved, even if there are flaws. And it's called Sharkenstein. You know if you want to watch it already or not. I think you should. You'll enjoy yourself. You'll have a fun time. It's not the best of the best of B-movies, but it's such a labor of love that you can't help but just want to cheer it on and give it a nice pat on the back. So watch it. Have a good time. As always, I've been your host, and thank you for watching.